Ladies and gentlemen, I was doing a video. I spent the last 20 minutes talking about this video, doing an update, only to realize that this song by Nas, Lauryn Hill and the Fugees deals with, well, it's by Nas and Lauryn Hill. If I Ruled the World has cursing in it. And so I had to stop the video because I told y'all absolutely not will I allow cursing on my videos. And so all of that done, and what I don't want to do is I don't want to have to go and splice it and cut out that section and then bring this together. So I'm just going to redo it, keep this simple, keep it short. Give me 1 second, pause you for a second. This is Nelly and Dilemma with Kelly Rollins. Now I know y'all know about Nelly, and we got No Doubt, but see, I can't play this one either because there's cursing in that one, okay? I don't put these videos up, other people put them up. Nelly, y'all. Kelly, oh, that's, what's her name? My girl, Patty, okay? And there y'all go. Alright, now let's go ahead and get on with this video. This is the foreign registration that's a requirement by all public officers dealing in an administrative setting. Sorry, what you're hearing in the background is people sending me emails. And a lot of people don't realize that I live on the West Coast and that I put in a lot of hours, but what I don't do is I don't work 24 hours a day. And so they send me stuff 24 hours a day, constantly, okay, at night. So I got to turn my ringer off because they're constantly sending me stuff 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And if I leave my ringer up, it'll keep me up. All right, America's jurisprudence. Public officers and employees. Now remember, this is the encyclopedia, the legal encyclopedia used by the courts. I refer to corpus juris secundum. I actually like it better than America's jurisprudence. They're the same thing. They bring up the very same case laws, but notice this section right here. This section right here says, as expressed otherwise, the powers delegated to a public officer are held in trust for the people. And what does it say? And are to be exercised on behalf of government and of all citizens who may need the intervention of the officer. All citizens. Okay? That includes American citizens. You don't believe me? Interesting. Let's go. We need to find out about something else about a public officer. Public Law 583. Under Title 22, Foreign Registration and Intercourse, Section 611, a public official is considered a foreign agent. In order to hold a public office, the candidate must file a true and complete registration statement with the Attorney General. What Attorney General? The United States Attorney General. How do we know this? Well, let me show you. Nelly, can you help us get over to that section? I think it's going to be... No, it's not there. Nah, that's not it. I think it might be behind my dragon. There it is. See, it was behind dragon. It is... Where you at? I think it's this. There it is. FARA, Foreign Agent Registration Act. They must be registered. So let's do this. JOHNROBERTS. He's with the Supreme Court of the United States. Okay. Now notice this. I put in John Roberts, and do you see this? That's Pat Roberts. I don't want Pat Roberts. John Walker Roberts. Okay, I don't know what John's middle name is, so let's do that. The cat is behind me, hearing me talking, and the cat wants to compete, and I'm gonna have to kill it. No. No. I don't care. See, that's our conversation, ladies and gentlemen. It's a dilemma. Look at that, a play on words. Let's do JOHNRO Roberts. John Roberts. John Glover Roberts Jr., current Chief Justice. That's what I need. I need this John Roberts. I need this John Roberts because this John Roberts is the one we need to find out if he's properly registered with the. That's right. John Roberts has to be registered too. Paste. Now let's see. Uh-oh. Did you see that? John Glover Roberts Jr. It's not registered with the as a foreign sovereign, a foreign agent. Did you see that? He's not registered. Let's search the archives on the department's website. So let's do that. This is No Doubt. I did say I was gonna play No Doubt. My best friend, can't believe this could be. District of Texas. Let's see. No. No, he is Texas, so that's why I stopped there. Now look, you all know No Doubt, and you all know Don't Speak. I want this Don't Speak. The cat wants to die, y'all. And the cat really wants to die. Leela James, we're gonna come here because I want all of these videos. On the last video, I gotta wait for that advertisement to finish playing, so I apologize. Like I said, I know the individual who created that requirement. This is Leela James, and we're gonna come up a little bit on the volume. My girl, I think she can sing. Okay. And so she gonna get funky with it in a minute. There we go. I don't want that. I didn't ask for that. It looks as though you're letting go. And if it's real, then I don't want to know. Okay, so we can't find John Roberts. Okay, he does not exist as far as having registered according to the law with the Foreign Registration and Intercourse section of public law. Sorry, I gotta go kill a cat. 1 second. Okay, cat dead. Alright, now, he's not registered with the Attorney General, with the State Attorney General as a foreign principal, and no such registration has been provided, the Attorney General, in fact, by the confirming the opposing party's attorney standing to litigate, act, or move on behalf of any party. Okay? So let me show y'all while I did this, the reason why I brought this up. We're going to talk about mortgages now. We talked about the attorneys and them not being authorized to represent any party in court. Okay, that's that section. It's all ending, so stop pretending who we are. Whoa, it's all ending. Let's stop pretending who we are. Whoa, Sorry, I like this song, as you can tell. That's Leela James, y'all. And she's singing Don't Speak. This is me downloading all the videos in that playlist and in the previous playlist. See, that was Mary J. Blige, Nelly, TLC, Mary J. Blige, and Alicia Keys, Eve, so on and so forth. Okay, George Michaels, hey my boy, Careless Whispers. Yes, sorry to hear that George is gone. Well, keeps happening, huh? These are all Leela James. Good. She's got a song called A Change Is Gonna Come. She's also got her Bohemian Rhapsody. And so we're gonna play her Bohemian Rhapsody. But I want A Change Is Gonna Come. Okay? So before we go on with this, sorry, I gotta play A Change Is Gonna Come. I know what you're thinking, Leela. I gotta stop this. I don't want cleanup woman. I want A Change Is Gonna Come. Leela James, ladies and gentlemen.
I was born
There we go.
by the river,
In a little tent.
in a little tent.
And we're gonna bring the volume down on Leela on YouTube just a little bit because you know this is a little bit louder than that. And she gonna compete with me, but she ain't gonna compete with me. Y'all know what I'm saying?
It's been a
long time coming. So let me tell y'all what we have right now. What I need to do is I need to get rid of that because I got this from the email and I pasted it here because I wanted you all to know. I need you all to do some research. It's called a report, Contracts Payable in Gold. It's Senate Report Document number 43, the April 17, 1933 Act, page 9. And we read the following statement. The ultimate, and I need you all to pay attention to this, okay, because this is important. And some of you are going to figure it out in a second because some other people have figured it out. Okay, it's just it hasn't been widely publicized, okay, that it will be a revolution. The ultimate ownership of all property is in the state. Individual, meaning you. So-called ownership is only by virtue of government. That's right, that's why they keep talking about you're a tenant on your own land, i.e. law. So any individual ownership is only by virtue of law, amounting to mere usury. Mere usury. You're not the owner. And use must be in accordance with law and subordinate to the necessities of the state. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where you keep hearing people say government owns all land in America. It was as a result of the Gold Repeal Act, which this was as a result of that. The Gold Repeal Act, March 9th through 12th, 1933. This act, the Contracts Payable in Gold Act, okay, that's exactly what it's called, Contracts Payable in Gold, and it's an article entitled Contracts Payable by Gold. Now, how do we know that this is actually law? Well, follow this. By George Thorpe Cyrus, showing the legal effect of agreements to pay in gold, United States Government Printing Office, Washington, 1933. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the United States Printing Office. United States, pay attention, Printing Office, Senate Resolution number 62, submitted by Stripstead and the Senate of the United States, April 17th, calendar, April 24th, 1933, resolved that the manuscript entitled Contracts Payable in Gold by George Cyrus Thorpe, showing the legal effect of agreements, let me get rid of that, to pay in gold, be printed as Senate document. Okay? It's now a Senate document. It's now a matter of history, a matter of law. Why is this a matter of law when it's not actually a statute at large? Well, here's the understanding. See, what he did, the ultimate ownership of all properties in a state, the so-called ownership is by virtue of government, i.e. the laws amounting to mere usury. Now, what I did is, what we're going to do, because we're going to go to this actual documentation. This is Cleanup Woman, y'all. Let's see, we're going to go to Contracts Payable in Gold. That's what we're going to look up. Let them know, Leela. Why do you know? is because she did what? Now, as you see, you find it at the Freedom School, you'll find it at archive.org, but that's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for the actual government website. Let's go here. Oh yeah. Contracts payable in gold. Document viewed 1,200 times since December 2016. Okay. This is the article that I've copied. Okay. This, as you will do the research, you'll find out that it is a Senate document with the House of Congress. I was actually going to order it because I couldn't find it at first. But now I have it. Okay. Washington, D.C. It talks about holders of commercial papers. There's a lot more information in here. The reason why this item is in a Senate record is because this lawyer who put this together actually attaches the case law and a Supreme Court opinion. Now, I had to sneeze, sorry. And it talks about what legal tender is according to the Legal Tender Act. The Legal Tender Act had made treasury notes of like value with gold. As a legal medium, there could be no distinction between notes and gold. The theory of the suit brought on contracts payable in a specific chattel is that the court's judgment is not for payments in articles in kind, but for damages resulting to creditors in consequences of breach of contract, and thus judgment can be paid off and satisfied in whatever money the law has clothed with the attributes of legal tender. Okay, money orders, legal tender. Checks, legal tender. Bills of exchange, legal tender. Bonds, legal tender. Do you understand why they could never say the money orders that we style, our style money orders, could never be illegal? Because to make the our style money orders, which does not have to be backed by funds in an account, illegal, they would make all the other money orders issued by all the other financial institutions illegal. Okay, but that's not why we're going over this. We're going over this because of that statement made regarding contracts. Like I said, a ton of case law, and they explain what the Congress wanted to have done and what the United States Supreme Court says regarding monies and what a species or a kind, see, powers resulting in two kinds of national money. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Equal acceptability, two kinds of money of equal value, equal purchasing power. Okay? Equal value for every dollar. It is a principle, a maxim by which they, the ones who created these stupid laws, actually came about. So when you read this, you'll find out about the equal value, equal power of every dollar. And you'll see how I operate. Now, the fact is, I didn't read this document before. I just knew this information. Now, here is me providing you proof of what I was saying. And he goes into explaining all of this, which is still to this day because they have not attributed an actual value to the dollar to this day. Because you know what it says? Qualification as to a coin or paper. Wait a minute. I told y'all this is a commercial. Uh-oh. Where are we at? Okay, that's a commercial. I want to play... Leela has a song here that I want to play. No, we're going to play Didn't I? Let me see. Let me see if Didn't I is here. Didn't I? Well, My Joy is okay. Where is Didn't I? Prayer. We're going to play Prayer if I can't find Didn't I. Because I like Didn't I. Alright, we'll play Prayer and then I'll look for Didn't I. Sorry. my girl Leela. Sorry, I keep forgetting where I was. Let's go back to Mr. Thorpe's paper because we're looking for the comment about the ownership of property. Living in a cold, cold world. Let's see. That's if I can find. Oh, the ultimate ownership of property. Of all property is in the state. Individual so-called ownership is only by virtue of government, i.e. law, amounting to mere user. See, individual ownership is only by virtue of government, amounting to mere user, and use must be in accordance with law and subordinate meaning subjected to the necessities of the state. That's why they can do eminent domain. Okay, sorry, as you heard, my phone got another chime, so I'm checking to see, and it tells me I got emails. So what I'm not doing is checking the emails. I have a person telling me, well, this one I can read. I wanna do this one. It says they sent their request to the USDA for information regarding their file, and he sent us a return receipt request mail. I felt pretty good that mail from City Mortgage. Oh, the person said when they got home, they got a letter saying that they wanted to lift the stay. And they're asking me what to do next. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I told all of you, I will not walk you through the whole legal process. There's too much involved. Okay? You have to go over the local rules. If they do a motion to lift the stay, they have to give you notice that you have the right to object to that. And so I will tell that person that, but I'm not helping any more mortgages right now because it's too much work. So Leela, tell them thank you. What you thanking me for? Oh, you probably wouldn't be no place. Sorry, this song is called Prayer. And so when I first heard the song, I was doing music search and I was listening to the song. I did not know what it was about at first. But as I kept listening to it and driving along the highway from California to New York and playing it over and over again, it became one of my favorites. To the point where even people in New York, sorry, the individual calling me, this is a Saturday, and the individual's calling me about his mortgage. But again, it don't work that way. Hold on 1 second. Oh, he actually hung up. Okay, it actually went straight to voicemail. So let me put you guys on pause for a second while I call this person back and find out what he wants. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I took care of that call. We're going to listen to Leela James talk about didn't I? Because she going to tell y'all, didn't I tell you? Tell them, Leela. We're going to repeat some of the music because we're going to download all of it. And then again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert all of it to audio. Leela, don't mess up on me now. Keep it smooth. All right. Close my eyes. All right, now let's get back to this. Let's show you why this is so important. So I'm going to go a little bit faster now so that you can all get what's going on right now. If the government owns all property, and they can do that. If the government owns all property, it does so on behalf of whom? The people, right? Because the government represents the people. Okay, we got that cleared out of the way. Keep it over there for just a second. However, when you go into court, isn't there an issue of standing? Isn't there an issue of who is the actual holder of the note? Who's the owner? So the banks are claiming that they lent the money. They're the lender. Okay, where did they get the money from? Excuse me? What do you mean, what am I talking about? Where did they get the money from? To lend you to get the home. Don't you understand the government owned the property? So how did the bank buy the property from the government? They couldn't, because banks can't own property. You don't believe me? Let's do this real quick. We got to do this real quick because we don't have a lot of time. I want to get this done. Okay, let's do banks cannot own property. It wasn't ready for me, so I'm going to see if it will do it. Let's do it again. Banks cannot own property. You see that little symbol down there? The little dragon symbol? If this symbol isn't spinning, hold on. Oh, come on now. Look, now it don't want to work. There we go. All right. Did not put my trust in you. There we go. See, now it's talking. Okay. Banks cannot own property. Says no speech available. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Banks cannot own property. Banks cannot own property case law. Let's go here. There is a, we have it on our site, the PDF, but notice unless, oh God, not now. Didn't I just say not now? Okay. I didn't know I was going to Facebook when I went to this document. And apparently it's going to pop up again. See, I say not now. Okay, so what I want to do, I don't like Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't want a Facebook account. Now let's go to the next one. Forget that. Why would I want to be on Facebook and it's going to do that junk right there? And see, like I said, take a look. Whenever you go on sites, they always are attaching other sites to when you go there. So the National Bank ownership of property. Let's go. Investment in real estate necessary for the transaction of business. In general, National Bank Federal Savings Association. We're going to go right here. This is scribed, and I know it's taken from my site. Okay, but anyway, banks can't own property unless Congress affirmatively enacts title to the U.S. State Code into law. This title is only prima facie evidence of law. National banks, corporations, are agencies or instruments of general government, designed, meaning state government, designed to aid in the administration of an important branch of the public service, and are an appropriate constitutional means to that end. A national bank cannot lend its credit and become the guarantor of an obligation of another unless it owns or has an interest in the obligation guaranteed, especially where it receives no benefit thereof. Sorry. What happened to didn't I? See, it's been a long time coming, y'all. There's another one of those songs that gets you going when it needs to get you going. All right, let's get back to the ownership of property. We're not going to go over every one of them because it's not a necessity, a necessary need to do so. All right, National Bank has no power to guarantee the performance of a contract made for the sole benefit of another. Okay, now, I just need that they can't own property. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for all the other junk. No. Nothing which your obligation means to enforce, not looking for that. Nope. Dang it, I'm just looking for the law that says they can't own property. Okay, this gives you the Title 12 and Holding Company Act, Bank Holding Company Act. An insured bank is defined in Section 3H of the Federal Deposit Insurance Act. Banks and Banking, Title 12 again. I'm just looking for where it says banks can't own property. God, why can't y'all just give me that law? Look, ladies and gentlemen, I brought it up, so I must show it. Let me get rid of these two. Um, I need the actual. It says how I lawfully claimed 3 houses. I'm going to download this because I'm interested in this person who does this and they don't charge you for this. Let's see. That's where this goes, in that folder. How to rightfully claim your home free and clear through the administrative procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the so-called title. How I lawfully claimed 3 houses free and clear is the title of this document. This is what you want to type in. It's by George Tran. Okay? And I don't know when this was written. Okay, George Tran, he's at free and clear in 90. I think he's saying 90 days. Dedicate this book to Jerry Kane. You guys remember Jerry Kane? Who they shot him and his kid down? Yeah, sorry. That still bothers me quite deeply. I never met Jerry, but I've known people who knew him, and they all speak very highly. And I didn't say spoke, I said speak very highly of Jerry. And I only started watching Jerry after that particular day, and so I was very disappointed and sad to see that video and what the police did and the lies that are proved by the video. Okay. He says, important priest read, I have successfully claimed 4 homes I own and released all liens on these properties lawfully. If you are in foreclosure and would like to learn how I did it, then this book is for you. As you can see on the following pages, there's the recorded full reconveyance of my 3 properties. A full reconveyance means the property is free and clear of liens and encumbrances, and that the note has been satisfied in full and has been released back to the owner of the property. I spent over 200 hours researching this process, and I feel that more people should know the truth about what's going on with their loans and claim what is rightfully theirs. I am not a guru, and I don't claim to be an expert in this matter. I credit the late Jerry Kane and John Strout for most of the education. Thanks to Angela Stark for private audio, homestead.com. There are many, many more learned people who came before me who have made this process possible. For that, I am deeply grateful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to go over this whole document, but I don't know what this document covers, so I can't go over it, because remember, the point is to finish this, but after I do this video, I'm going over that document. Let's see. As soon as it lets me get here. No, this is prayer. We already listened to prayer. We're going to skip prayer, because where would I be? No! Anyway. Oh, mistreating me. Y'all need to stop mistreating me. And then we're going to play When Somebody Loves You, and then we're going to do another video, okay? But for right now, that's where we be. Ladies and gentlemen, the banks cannot own the property because the government owns it. The banks cannot buy the property from the government because the people must benefit from such a purchase. You cannot have the property sold to the banks and then sold back to the people, because that would be illegal. Because they would be taking advantage of the people, selling them back what was theirs at a higher rate. Can't do that. Well, what do you mean? Well, you can come and buy something from me, and then tomorrow take and sell what you just bought from me for a higher price back to me if you want it. However, I must be aware that it's being sold to you, and there must be a benefit, and there must be a benefit to me just in case you intend to do exactly what I just said you did. So when government, there is no contract saying they ever sold it to the bank, because that means the banks would have to pay government in order for it to be sold. So let me tell you what's going on here. In 1933, the Gold Repeal Act said, give us back your gold. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your gold. And if you give me your gold, we're going to make sure you have what you need, because we got some debts we need to pay, and we can only pay it in gold, because our legal tender is not recognized by these other countries. It's not actually the world default currency as of this day. So everybody gave their gold. And so the government promised them a house, a dog, at least one dog, and a white picket fence. You get to have a white, I'm looking at a white picket fence right now. Okay, in the back of the house that I'm actually staying. A white picket fence. And a car. That's not welfare. That was a promise by government for taking gold out of the currency market. The monetary system. Okay, so now government owned all the property because they'd already assumed the ownership rights of all the property in the second bankruptcy. The third bankruptcy, all the gold. The fourth bankruptcy, your lives, your estates. Okay, so now that we got this, government owns everything. And so the banks can't sell you the property. Only the government can sell you the property. But the banks, in order for them to sell you the property, they'd have to have permission of the government. Wait a minute, the banks must have permission of the government? Yes, which they never provide. Go ahead, take a look. Remember, ownership is by virtue of government, so they must have permission of the government. So, the government, if they sell you the property, whew, man, any profit must go to the benefit of the people. Okay, well anyway, the banks cannot foreclose on you because they don't own the property. You don't need to argue any of the other points. Just say, I need to see the contract. And then you put this in your document, saying it is impossible for the banks to have claimed to be owners of the property. It is impossible for the lender to have lent any money. What goes on then? Well, remember, the paid to the order of the United States of America without recourse, the all homes being insured by the United States government. This is why it's insured by the United States government. This is why it is guaranteed by the United States government, because the government allows the banks to act as a mediator in facilitating the process. Why? Because remember, we just read in Title 12 that they are an arm of the government for use of a public service. What's the public service? Well, what they were supposed to do is help you get into a home, and you were to use your estate after giving them the proper information, validating the fact that you are the owner of that estate. And they were to take that note along with the insurance agreement that they have with the government, because they have an insurance agreement that they're indemnified for helping with this process. And the government credits them for the transaction, helping you get into a property because of the Gold Repeal Act. So that's what's going on. That's why I keep telling you all homes are insured by the United States government. Plus it has mortgage default insurance, just in case the banks don't receive the payment. When you give a promise to pay that amount, you promise to pay through your estate, and you don't realize that. So ladies and gentlemen, we're about to do some damage. Are you ready? Because I promise you, I'm about to do some damage. I have not been scared. I've not been ran away. They're not going to make me stop. I refuse. I refuse. My phone is ringing. I gotta pause, y'all. As a matter of fact, we're gonna end this. Have a good day, have a good night. We'll be back with you with another update. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.